What's up, guys? It's Meg, and welcome back to Meg After Dark. Today we're talking about the latest episode of The Walking Dead. We're discussing our thoughts about Season 7, Episode 3, The Cell. Now, despite all of the commercial breaks and the really annoying song at the beginning of this episode, I actually really enjoyed the content within this episode. Now, it wasn't super action-packed, nothing crazy happened, not even really a lot of drama, but I really enjoyed learning more about Dwight, more about the Savior's compound, and really getting to see firsthand what Daryl is going through. Now let's start out at the beginning of the episode. This episode opens up with the Easy Street song, and we see Dwight having a good time. I mean, if there is a spot to be in the sanctuary, you want to be where he's at. He's got the food, he's got a TV, he can play games, he's got cigarettes, eating a really good sandwich, and as he's walking through, kind of going about his daily life, and we're hearing this song, like, let's see, the lyrics here are,
we're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world is but a treat, and you're on Easy Street.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to do it. I'm sorry. I know you probably hate me now. But really, listen to the words that they're saying in this song. I know it's a completely ridiculously annoying song, but they're saying life is but a treat when you're on Easy Street. Like, pretty much like, this is like the happiest song you could get right now, okay? And everything's easy, and your life is easy, and you're on Easy Street, and you know, you get it, right? And we're seeing all these clips of Dwight, and he's like, having a great time, or so it seems, and he's living on top. Like, if you could be, like I said before, if you could be at any spot in the hierarchy of Negan's compound, this is where you want to be. You want to be the top guy where Dwight's at. And then as this episode progresses, we start to see, well, of course we see Daryl, and we hear this very same song being used to torture him, to break him. And he's naked in a cell, and he's being fed dog food sandwiches, which is the exact opposite of the life that Dwight is supposedly leading here. And so we see these two very drastic differences in where you could end up here at Negan's sanctuary. But as we soon find out, being one of Negan's top guys is not all it's cracked up to be. I absolutely love the commentary here between Negan and Dwight. Now, you guys know I love Negan. I really do. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and I think Negan's commentary, especially in this episode, is so spot on for his character. Now, he acts like he trusts Dwight. He acts like he likes Dwight, but he can't ever resist rubbing it in Dwight's face, the things that he's taken from him. Negan's a smart guy, and pretty much everything that he says to Dwight, every interaction he has, is some sort of test. To test Dwight's loyalty to him, to, you know, he's constantly digging at him as well. For example, when he's talking to Daryl and he's telling kind of the story of how Dwight came to be one of his top guys, you know, with Sherry becoming his wife and saving Dwight's life and the iron and all of that. And Negan knows that this is the kind of thing that would bother Dwight. But Dwight has become very good at not showing his anger towards Negan, at not acting like any of this bothers him. And also, the moment where Negan is jokingly offering up Sherry as a token to Dwight, you know, for old time's sake, here, have a go with her. And he says it like he means it. And Dwight shows no emotion on his face, pretty much just stares at him like, dude, what the fuck? And that is Dwight passing the test. I mean, that was a test from Negan. If Dwight had been like, oh, okay, sure, that would have proven to Negan that Dwight is not loyal, that he doesn't understand the rules. And Dwight knows this, and Dwight knows every interaction pretty much is a test from Negan. And throughout this episode, we also see Dwight, in his own way, helping Daryl as well. And you don't really realize it at first, because the entire time, I mean, he's the one feeding him dog food sandwiches and trying to break him by playing the music and leaving him naked and showing him pictures of Glenn dead. And you don't realize it, but I think Dwight, in his own way, is you know, he knows he has to break Daryl. Like, that's his job. That's a job Negan's given to him. So he knows he has to do it. He doesn't have a choice. But it's not easy for him because he sees a lot of himself in Daryl, I believe. And especially towards the end of the episode, when you see Dwight yelling at Daryl, like, this is the only way. You have to do this. And Daryl says, like, I know why you did it, or I get why you did it. You know, he was looking out for someone, but I can't. And I almost think that one of the other reasons that it's, you know, maybe even easier for Dwight to be mean to Daryl is because he not only sees a lot of himself in Daryl, but he sees a lot of, or maybe, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like he sees how strong Daryl is and that Daryl is withstanding all of the torture that he's going through, and he's withstanding, not kneeling to Negan, not saying I am Negan. He's still trying to maintain himself and stay strong and not give in. And maybe Dwight is a little bit envious of how strong Daryl really is here. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, or your opinions on, you know, Dwight and Daryl and these interactions here. Now, I want to move along before this video gets too long and talk a little bit about Negan's 3 options for Daryl. So the first option is you die and you stay at the fence as a walker and you guard the fence and you're still working for Negan even in death. The second option is to work for points and wish you were dead, apparently. So we haven't really got to see a lot of what working for points really entails, but it sounds pretty shitty. And then we get the third option, which Negan wants Daryl to pick. He wants Daryl as one of his top guys there because I think he sees a lot in Daryl that he likes. He just wants him to conform and he wants to also break him down so that he does conform. And so option number 3 is to become one of Negan's top guys, and all Daryl has to do is say he's Negan. You know, basically choose to give in, choose to be under the thumb of Negan, choose to change your life and work for him. And there's no option number 4. You don't get to leave. You don't get to ever leave. Even in death, you never get to leave. And so the episode goes on and we see Dwight go on this run to retrieve someone who has attempted to leave. And they call this a code orange. And they don't ever let anyone leave. Okay, so this is the same kind of thing that they did when Sherry and Dwight tried to leave with Tina. Negan's men will hunt you down. Like, you can try and run, but you're not going to get away. Even in death, you're still going to come back. And we see this play out with Dwight and this guy. I don't even know his name, but he tried to leave. And you see Dwight trying to, you know, he's like, come on, we have to go. And Dwight's hurt, and they're trying to walk back to the sanctuary. And you can hear the things that Dwight's saying. So this guy's like, pretty much, kill me, I'm not going back. And Dwight starts, you know, he's threatening everything, trying to get this guy to go back. And he's saying, like, I'll dig up your dead wife, I'll kill everyone you ever talked to there, like, you are going back. Go, or it's going to be much worse for anyone you ever came into contact with. And even in saying all of these threats, you don't hear a lot of conviction in Dwight's voice. And everything that the guy says to him when he says, you know this is true, you know there's nothing left there, you know it doesn't have to be this way. Yeah, Dwight knows that. And even though he's trying to stay strong here and saying, you know, go back, you have to go back, and the guy's like, fine, you win, and he starts walking back. In that moment when he shoots him in the back, it's almost a mercy killing. He knows the guy doesn't want to go back. In fact, he knows the guy would rather die than go back. And I think in that moment, he really is showing this guy mercy because he knows there's no other thing that he can do for him. He can't let him go because he has to look out for himself. And, you know, he doesn't want to die at the hands of Negan. And he doesn't want to get punished from Negan for not bringing this guy back. So he does go ahead and shoot the guy. And I think it was his way of showing mercy to him. And at the end of the episode, we see that he, Negan won't just accept, oh, you killed him. Like, you don't ever get to leave, as we saw in the beginning, as we heard Negan say, like, even in death, you are still going to work for me. And Dwight knew that he had to bring this guy back. And I feel like in that long walk that he took back to the sanctuary, I mean, I don't know how long it was, but we do know that he rode his motorcycle, out there, and there's probably this long walk back to the sanctuary, hauling this walker behind you. And I really feel like he probably had a lot of time to think about what this guy said and to think about, the way he's living there at the sanctuary. And then, later when we see that Daryl just won't submit to Negan, and we just hear Dwight throw Daryl back into his cell, and he just screams at him pretty much like, and I don't even remember exactly what he said, I need to watch it again, but something like, you have to do this, like, this is the only way, whatever he says, like, that's the gist of it. And I think it's kind of just like, you don't want to end up like this guy, you just have to do what you got to do. And I'll be honest with you, I was so frustrated with Daryl because part of me just wanted him to submit, because I feel like he could just put on a show and then eventually turn on Negan when he saw the opportunity to. And I was so frustrated that he wasn't doing that, that he was still staying strong. And then, kind of by the end of the episode, when you hear him tell Dwight, I know why you did it, but I can't. And you go back to, the Polaroid of Glenn, and you think about all those feelings that Daryl has, all that guilt that he has over Glenn's death. I mean, he feels like he did this. And even Dwight says, like, you got your friend killed. And that only confirms what Daryl is thinking in his head, which is, yes, I did. I was stupid. And, in that moment, that is the reason why Glenn died. And I think that he sort of feels like he has to stay strong for that. At least that's my take on this whole Daryl situation and why he won't submit. I mean, I'm telling you, I want him to just give in and pretend like he's on Negan's side now, and then eventually down the road, he'll have a way to turn on him. I mean, I really feel like at this point, eventually it's going to happen, because I really am feeling like Daryl, the more time that Daryl and Dwight spend together, the more they will sympathize with each other. I mean, Daryl already says, like, I get why you did it. And I think Dwight will end up softening to Daryl as well. And I'm hoping that eventually they will actually team up together against Negan when All Out War comes along. But in the back of my head, this whole thing with the Saviors and Daryl being their captive, Daryl is this huge wild card. He's not in the comics. We really don't know where his character is going here with the Saviors. If he will eventually, turn and be very loyal to the Saviors, or if he will turn on the Saviors and, help out his own people again. Like, we just really have no idea where it's going, but I can't help but think that this storyline sure reminds me an awful lot of Beth being taken to the hospital and forced to work for what she takes, and eventually she died in defiance of the hospital. And I just, this storyline with Daryl here in the Saviors, it just feels so familiar. It just feels a lot like the same kind, like it's paralleling, that sounds like I'm saying that wrong. Is that a word? It seems like it's paralleling Beth's storyline as well, and maybe that's done on purpose or maybe not, but it does have me worried that at some point here, Daryl won't make it out. Although I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping for a really big epic scene with him and Dwight, like, just turning on Negan. So let me know what you guys think about that as well in the comments. I think I am done with this review. It is pretty long, like normal. I'm really excited to talk about the previews I've seen for next week's episode. It looks like we're going to be back at Alexandria. Negan is coming for his first gift, and Daryl is along for the ride. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I have a screenshot, and Daryl is there with Dwight, and it doesn't appear that he's going to be looting as well, but he was definitely brought along to see, to be shown just what the saviors are going to be taking there. So, and to show, you know, like, here's your home that you're never going back to. So I'm really excited to talk about my predictions for next week because it's going to be a 90-minute episode. It's going to probably be pretty big. I'm hoping we get to see Tara because I've been waiting forever to see Tara and Heath, and I think it's unfair that we haven't seen them yet. And I hope that we get to see Maggie. I hope that the entire episode is not just at the Alexandria here. I'm wondering though, you know, in the Comic-Con trailer, and I'll talk more about this in my predictions video, but in the Comic-Con trailer, we see Jesus at the hilltop, and it looks like the saviors have attacked, and I'm wondering if, you know, I'm sure that Negan has figured out that the hilltop was somehow involved in this, and I'm wondering if while Negan is at Alexandria getting his, it looks like he comes by early, mind you, that maybe he sent some other saviors to attack the hilltop and to punish them as well. I don't know. We'll talk about that more in my predictions video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments, and hope you guys have a great night.